Calls are growing louder in the United Kingdom for England and Scotland to boycott the 2026 FIFA World Cup that is set to be co-hosted by the United States.
The 2026 World Cup was supposed to be untouchable, a global celebration already locked into history before the first whistle was ever blown. Instead, something far more unsettling has taken hold. Ticket cancellations are rising, viral videos are spreading faster than FIFA can respond, and governments, fans, and sponsors are starting to ask questions that were never meant to surface this close to kickoff. What began as scattered frustration has evolved into something deeper, something structural. This is not noise. This is pressure building around the most powerful tournament on Earth, and the consequences could reshape everything. More than 16,800 people quietly canceled their ticket registrations, not because of football, but because of fear, uncertainty, and a growing sense that something fundamental had shifted. At nearly the same time, a video circulated worldwide showing ICE agents fatally shooting a U.S. citizen in Minneapolis, a city scheduled to host World Cup matches. These two events were not officially connected, yet they collided in the public consciousness with startling force. The World Cup promises openness, safety, and shared experience, while the images coming out of the United States told a far different story, one that many international fans could not ignore. As questions mounted, FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani spoke with unusual clarity, stating that football is bigger than any regime. That sentence landed because it addressed a tension FIFA could no longer avoid. To understand how the world's most anticipated sporting event reached this point, attention turned back to a decision made months earlier. President Donald Trump signed an executive order suspending the processing of immigration visas for citizens of 75 countries. The order was framed as a security measure, yet its ripple effects traveled far beyond politics and straight into the heart of global sport. Supporters from Africa, the Middle East, and large parts of Asia suddenly faced higher barriers to entry. Visa fees increased by $250 for travelers outside the visa waiver program, while processing times stretched without clear timelines. Flights were booked without certainty, hotel reservations were made with hesitation, and many fans realized that owning a World Cup ticket no longer guaranteed the ability to attend. The tournament was approaching, but the road toward U.S. stadiums had become unpredictable. Then social media filled with footage of immigration enforcement raids, surprise checks, families pulled apart, and scenes that clashed sharply with the idea of a welcoming global festival spread across every platform. The contrast was impossible to miss. The World Cup sells unity, yet the imagery reaching millions showed division and fear playing out in real time. Anxiety replaced excitement for fans who had planned these trips for years. January 7th became the moment when unease turned into outrage. In Minneapolis, Renee Nicole Macklin Good, a 37-year-old U.S. citizen, was shot and killed by ICE agents. The video spread globally within hours. This was not perceived as an isolated incident. It became a symbol, especially because it occurred in a city preparing to host World Cup matches. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey publicly told ICE to leave the city, stating that they were not welcome. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called the incident entirely predictable and entirely preventable. The reaction did not stay within American borders. A Lebanese diplomat posted a video tearing up his World Cup ticket while announcing participation in the boycott. That moment resonated far beyond one individual. It became a signal that the tournament had entered political territory that FIFA has historically tried to avoid. The World Cup was no longer being discussed only in terms of goals, stadiums, and teams. It had become a referendum on safety, dignity, and access. During Phase 3 of FIFA's random selection draw, more than 16,800 ticket registrations were canceled. In isolation, that number might appear manageable, yet it represented something deeper. It showed that trust was eroding. European supporter organizations added their voices. Football Supporters Europe, representing millions of fans, criticized both ticket pricing and FIFA's broader approach. This time, the frustration went beyond cost. It centered on whether supporters could rely on being treated fairly and safely once they arrived. FIFA found itself facing a dilemma with no easy solution. The organization is responsible for protecting the integrity of a global tournament, yet the primary host nation was introducing policies that directly affected who could attend. As early as October 2025, before the situation fully escalated, Victor Montagliani made FIFA's position unmistakable. When President Trump suggested moving matches out of cities he labeled unsafe, such as Seattle or Boston, Montagliani responded without hesitation. He emphasized that this was FIFA's tournament and that FIFA alone makes those decisions. He followed with a statement that signaled open defiance, saying that football would exist long after any regime was gone. That language was not carefully polished diplomacy. It was a clear line drawn in public. In modern World Cup history, few moments compare to a global sports organization openly challenging a sitting U.S. president. FIFA understood what was at stake. Yielding to political pressure would weaken the tournament's credibility worldwide. Emergency meetings followed, not to negotiate with Washington, but to prepare alternatives. 16 host cities are under contract, with 11 in the United States, 3 in Mexico, and 2 in Canada. FIFA holds the authority to reallocate matches if conditions require it. That possibility is exactly what caused concern in Washington. Behind closed doors, contingency plans were quietly updated. No announcements were made, yet the option existed. Meanwhile, FIFA President Gianni Infantino remained publicly silent. Known for maintaining cordial relations with President Trump, Infantino neither defended nor criticized the administration's actions. That silence carried weight. FIFA was balancing carefully, unwilling to escalate into open conflict, while also resisting control over its tournament. Every statement was calculated, and every pause was deliberate. Then FIFA released a number that seemed to contradict the boycott narrative entirely. Ticket applications for the 2026 World Cup surpassed 500 million, an all-time record. At first glance, the figure appeared to undermine claims of a growing crisis. If demand was that high, how serious could the backlash be? The answer lies in context. The 16,800 canceled registrations are real, yet compared to 500 million applications, they represent approximately 0.003%. Demand remains enormous. That reality does not erase consequences. It reframes them. The issue is not whether people want to attend the World Cup. The issue is how they feel about attending it. Ticket pricing has already tested goodwill. Final match tickets range from $4,185 to $8,680. In Canada, prices increased between 24% and 61% across sales phases. Football supporters Europe described the situation as a generational betrayal. Yet pricing alone did not trigger the current crisis. Safety and predictability did. Hotel prices exposed another layer of the story. Across all host cities in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, hotel rates rose by an average of 328% compared to the same period. Vancouver saw increases of 233%, with some hotels listing rooms at $1,700 per night. Toronto experienced smaller but still significant spikes. Mexico recorded the fastest growth at 114%, followed by Canada at 92%. The United States, unexpectedly, saw a lower average increase of 55%. These figures revealed something critical. Demand did not shift away from the United States toward Canada or Mexico. It spread across all three countries.